Now, here's the thing you have to understand and why people talk so much about email protection. And it's because that's still the number one vector for cyber attacks. No matter what seems to happen in the industry, the attackers, hackers, and everything always seem to find ways around all the different defenses and ways to get into people's inboxes. And despite all of the training and the recommendations and everything that goes along with that, people still click on links, people still open attachments, people still believe emails that are from fraudulent sources, and it's still a big problem in the world today. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about that. And first and foremost, when it comes to email protection, the most important thing that really matters, and this is true for so many different topics in the world of business, and that's employee training. It's really important to work with an IT company that knows how to train employees, that knows what's involved with employees, that know how employees think and how employees work, regular users, and those employees. That doesn't just mean the low-level employees. That means management. That means the C-suite level people. That means the executives, everybody involved in the organization. A few years back, there was actually a data breach at Target that actually came through thanks to an HVAC company. So even companies that are subcontractors working in your industry, working in your building, working connected with you, they need to be trained on this type of stuff as well. And it's really important to keep that kind of stuff in mind because every person, every user is a potential vector of attack. So, of course, the number one cause of this type of stuff is mistaking hacked emails with authentic ones. What typically happens when somebody gets hacked is one of the first things they'll do, whether it's some kind of an automated bot or there's actually somebody that physically actually gets into their computer, is they begin sending out similar emails from their system. So it looks like a completely legitimate email. It looks like it's coming from someone because they'll use the contact list, or they'll go through the send folder and see who's they've sent emails to recently, and they'll start sending these emails, these spam emails to them, and they're not really spam. They're phishing emails, and they'll start sending out these phishing emails to all the people that they've sent emails to recently. And that's important for your folks, the people that work for you, all your employees, to understand how easy that is. If a colleague of theirs from another company gets hacked and then they start sending out emails, phishing emails, then there's a good chance that they could fall for that kind of thing. So be careful not to fall for phishing scams. It's usually pretty easy to tell what's a phishing scam and what's not. If the email's coming from somebody that you know, but they're asking for strange information, if it's coming from someone you know and they're doing anything like, a really common one is they'll say they're locked out of their bank account or something like that. They're locked out of they're out of the country and all they can do is get to this email, and that's their only ability to reach the world. Those types of things, very fishy, very suspicious. You should definitely take those. Not even a grain of salt. You should just not believe those types of emails if it's coming from somebody that you know, and you need to get some kind of verbal confirmation with them. Which, by the way, what's kind of interesting is that's going to start to change pretty soon too, because the next big thing that's probably going to hit is going to be deep fakes, where people are going to be able to use AIs to mimic people's voice. That's something to keep an eye on as we're going to be moving forward. You've already seen that in productions in film and stuff, where they bring certain actors that might be dead or have lost their voice, they bring them back to life by using these AI technologies to duplicate their voice. That's probably going to be the next step of phishing attacks, is it's going to be your boss is actually someone that sounds exactly like your boss is going to be calling you. But we're not quite there yet, so I don't want to scare you too much on that. So you need to train your employees. You need to let them know what's out there, how to identify it, what's going on. But you also need strong procedures and policies. Now, what's a procedure and what's a policy? A procedure is something that you do, a standard operating procedure. So a really good example of a procedure is every time an employee is terminated, you take their keys, you take their cards, you take anything else that's associated with them getting into the building, and you remove those from their person. That's a really common procedure. You should have similar procedures like that in the digital space. So you should automatically disable their usernames. You should automatically disable their email. Things like that. That's a procedure. Policies are the way that you're expected to treat things. So like a texting while driving policy. The policy is that while you're employed for us, you are not allowed to text while drive. Or a privacy policy that includes information about any kind of customer information that we have, we will not share with third-party sources. So that's a policy. So you need to have well-defined and well-orchestrated policies and procedures that you then, as a company, that you follow. So you need to have them written down, you need to have them standardized, and then you need to actually follow them. And there's lots of different kinds of policies and procedures that are involved with cybersecurity. You can reach out to us to help you out with planning some of those types of things. Of course, you also need to make sure that you've got good filtering systems to protect you from any kind of potential phishing scams. There's all kinds of them that can be flagged and taken care of. And of course, you need to be using encryption. Encryption, whenever you're sending out any kind of sensitive information, you should not ever send any sensitive information through email. That's one of the big tells of a phishing scam. If a bank asks you for like a social security number, or a bank asks you for a bank account number, a credit card number, if anybody asks you for something like that through email, you know right away that that is a phishing scam, because no legitimate organization is going to do something like that. They're never going to ask you for that type of thing. Now, one of the most prominent problems that we have today in the world of cybersecurity that has caused lots of difficulties is the whole concept of BYOD, which is bring your own device. Now, it used to be that organizations would assign devices to people. It would be their computer. Their computer would have certain rules, settings. Again, that's that whole policy and procedure thing, and they could be locked down so that they wouldn't be used for anything that was outside of work. Well, as times have changed, of course, people want to bring their iPhones to work. People want to use their latest computers. They want to buy their own laptops. Everything starts to get intermingled. And then, of course, with the whole work from home situation that we've had over the last few years, that becomes more and more and more and more difficult to kind of lock all that kind of stuff down. So, unfortunately, what that leads to is consumer devices are unbelievably insecure, and they have all kinds of things that are vectors for attack for cybercrime. So what you want to do is make sure that you have a BYOD policy, and you need to be able to set that forward, work with your employees, say that, these types of things are not allowed to be used. If you're using your device for work, you can't do these types of things. If you want to do these types of things on your personal phone, then you cannot use it for work. Things like that. So you want to make sure that they're following all of the regular rules and procedures. So let's say you've got financial information, and your rule is you cannot have financial information on your personal device, on your laptop. That means that you need to have some kind of like an online portal that they can access it, where all the data is actually stored in that portal and not on the local laptop. Or some other similar procedure that they have to have certain password requirements. And then again, if they say, well, I don't want to do that, I don't want to take those extra steps, I don't want to encrypt my laptop, hard drive, things like that, then the policy would be then you can't use your own device for work. So those are some simple ideas to get you started on information for protecting your email and protecting your systems. It's really important to understand the vector of attack that is email, and BYOD devices that consumer level devices that people are familiar with using every day. If you need any help with any of that kind of stuff, developing your policies, and please do visit our website at advantage.tech. Like, share, subscribe, and let everybody know these simple little tips that can help them out.